Alright. Quick damage. Alright. Just start speaking to the microphone.
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
100%.
Fantastic.
Right, so getting the recording on the way, you know? Let's get to it. Alright, so I'm going to introduce the show, and then I'm here with Lukho, and then you tell me about yourself, and then we're just going to get into it. Alright, cool. Right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is Njomo James, the host of the NJ podcast, and this is season 2, and this is episode 8, and I am here with a good friend, Lukho Nomala, and on the show we talk with very interesting people. I believe interesting people. I don't care if you're an MMA fighter, a boxing fan, sports fan, a cluster guy. Well, not that that matters, but it doesn't matter where you're from. Honestly, you can learn lessons from people from all walks of life, because everyone has a story to share and a message to give out there. And the theme of the show is success is a progressive realization of a worthy ideal. That means that you go after what you've always wanted to go after, because it's in line with your highest values. And that is the only way you can live a truly fulfilled life. And on the show today, I've got a good friend and brother-in-law. No pressure. No pressure. Lukho Nomala. So thank you very much for joining on the show. Cool. So please let us know, Lukho, who are you from, why you're here, and where you're going.
So as you say, my name is Lukho Nomala. I'm originally from East London. Was born in Tatsane. I grew up there, went to primary and high school in the Eastern Cape.
Yeah.
Then I came up to Johannesburg and studied at UJ in accounting. Took 4 years instead of 3, but yeah, nonetheless, that's fine.
You liked it so much that you had to stay for it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I could have just
come on. Let me just make it hard stay for it.
Hey, you know what I mean? Just one more module. What's another year gonna hurt?
Yeah.
Then I did my honors in financial management at UJ still. Then I was actually doing a clerk there for about 2 years as well. Then I'm currently in the motor industry right now.
In the motor industry right now.
Yeah.
What do you do in the motor industry?
So I'm part of like parts pricing, things like that, more after sales, business marketing and things like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright, fantastic. Are you enjoying it?
It's good.
It's good. First of all, are they paying you? Are they paying you enough?
Hey, I wouldn't be there for 3 years if they weren't.
If they weren't paying you. Okay, alright, okay. Because people stay in jobs because they become economic hostages, and they're there because they have to be there, not because they necessarily want to, you know?
I mean, yeah, like a lot of people do struggle with that, but I think also it just depends in terms of what your ambitions are at the end of the day, as in what you see in the company, but also I think in this economic climate, especially for a young person, you need to also like understand your value and then see outside, because like I've noticed with a lot of companies, right, that as soon as you leave, right, like let's say for example you're getting paid a certain X amount, then you leave, and all of a sudden when they headhunt you back, all of a sudden they're paying you double now all of a sudden, and then like they don't realize your value when you were in there, they only realize your value when you're gone, right? So like I've noticed that a lot with like so many companies and stuff like that, even with a lot of mates that have left and came back to their previous companies and stuff like that. So always just understand your value, man. You know, and if you feel like you need more, go look out for more, go get more. You know what I mean? Because what, you're gonna stay to a company for culture? Come on, man. Culture doesn't pay bills.
It does.
Experience doesn't pay bills. Bills pay bills.
Bills pay bills.
You know,
money pays bills.
Yeah. Exactly. Money pays bills at the end of the day. So you have to understand your value, but also the company that you're currently in needs to be clear with the kind of plan that they have for you. If a company doesn't have a plan for you, listen, I won't even know where I'm gonna go next day. You know what I mean? So if the thing is, it has to be what I've experienced is that it has to be a two-way relationship. It's not just me working and you giving me money. Right? Because at the end of the day, listen, I could work somewhere else for more money. You know what I mean? You need to treat me right. You need to show me why I need to stay. You know? And the problem is, it feels. Hey, listen, pamper me.
Look at my pockets.
Give me a Christmas present,
Christmas
jeez.
present.
No, see, like,
Yeah.
so it's one of those things. Like, it has to be a two-way relationship, you know? So that's the way I see, like, jobs and stuff like that and work. It has to be a two-way relationship. I can't put in all the work and then you dump me with more work and then you expect me to pull out 1,000 results and my pay is still the same. Listen, get me into a new tax bracket at least.
Exactly, yeah.
You know? So, like, that's the way I see it.
Yeah, and far too often, young graduates get taken for a ride. They get ridden hard because they get undervalued. They come in first, like in some of the small auditing firms. This is what I heard.
CAs!
This is what I heard. I don't know if it's necessarily true, and I don't want Psycho to come fetch me. But anyway, this is what I hear. They'll join and they say you're here to build your experience, your exposure. That I get 100%. You're building a resume. And then years into it, they're still really underpaying you, but then they're saying you have to work 100 hours a freaking week, and then you hardly get the increase that you want. And then they'll say, no, if I'm working for you and I say, look, I want an increase, you're like, no, you don't have budget. But so far from the not, they do have budget. They just don't. They're trying to maximize the profits and make sure that their shareholders are paid enough. So that's why they're not necessarily going to pay you as much. What I learned is you need to, as I say what you're saying, know your worth and be like, so this is how much I'm worth. And I should come with the numbers and the data to say a person at my position with X amount of years is worth X amount. So what you won't do.
Exactly. But one thing I like about the whole CA thing, right, is that, well, what my friends have told me who've gone through the thing is that they give you a path in terms of what you're supposed to go through, right?
Yes, yeah.
The issue though is those people work stupid hours.
Yeah.
Like I work from like 9 till 4 in the morning and then they're back at the office at 8 o'clock again. Listen, I'm not gonna work for 4 hours of sleep. You know, like it's those like, and they work with like, especially like when they have to do submissions and stuff like that. I don't know the terminology because I'm not in that industry, but like those people are really overworked. I'm not gonna lie. Like I know a lot of friends that complain about that, and I get, you know, like this is one thing that pisses me off though as well is that, for example, if let's say a company has to size down, right?
Yeah.
That's fine. Less employees. Work is still the same.
Yeah.
Why is my pay still the same? Listen, at least give me that other person half their salary at least. You know?
I don't know. Can someone give me an answer why that happens?
I genuinely don't know because people will like to say, no, they're trying to save, right? But then why am I expected to still take on the new work, but the pay is still the same?
It's understand there's processes and there's year-end salary reviews and, you know, red tape.
Yeah, okay, but then if you're gonna say there's processes and year-end and red tape, then like maybe I have the right to say, listen, I can't get to that because there's processes and red tape and stuff like that, you know? Because that's the issue is that you get dumped on with so much more work.
Yeah.
And then now all of a sudden, boom, your salary is still the same, your stress levels are higher.
Yeah.
Your deadlines have a deadline every Tuesday now all of a sudden instead of once a month and stuff like that. And now you're working with a lot of more people.
Yeah,
It's just one of those things.
That's what you should tell them.
And this is why, especially as younger people, a lot of people are just like breaking down or like they're just like, you know, screw this because like it's not good. Like we're just overworked, and like that's why you'll see young people will do one of two things, right?
Yeah.
Is that when they overwork, they're either gonna stress drink, or they're gonna go to gym.
Stress drink or go to gym.
Yeah, facts. If you've noticed, right, and I was reading some
yeah.
Like if you've noticed, right, like if you look at the whole wave right now that's going on with fitness, right, a lot of it started with people needing an outlet to de-stress away from their 9 to 5s, right? So health, you know, like listen, hey, at least I have a 6-pack, you know. That helps. So it helps in terms of de-stressing. But then if you look at alcohol, listen, bruv. Hey man, this thing is nice. Like, you know, it's not gonna pressure me. So like, we're trying to find ways of de-stressing at the end of the day. And I see a lot of people. Me personally, I drink a lot. Right? Is that
water, of course.
Yeah, let's say water. So it's one of those, like you have to gym, like you have to find some sort of an alternative to de-stress because there's so much in terms of work and the pressures that you're under. And Yeah, I mean, like, it's just, and the thing is, it's so tough to tackle that, especially when you just got into a company.
Yeah.
Because obviously there is hierarchy.
Yeah.
And listen, people will sabotage your career, right? That, like,
who are these people trying to sabotage?
Hey, man, like,
people are good all the time and always for you. No, that's naive.
let's not lie, like, office politics ain't a thing, man. Yes.
They are like psychopaths at work.
Nah,
They
they
exist.
are.
No, they
No,
exist.
they'll backstab you out here.
Yeah, of course.
You know, like,
it's Game of Thrones up here.
It really
Before
is.
the 80s,
Like,
but like Game of Thrones.
that season was the most disappointing
Oh,
thing
most
ever. I
disappointing.
was so mad.
I couldn't believe that. HBO, I don't know why you did that to us, right? You did
Like,
like
I
8
mean-
seasons of anticipation just for it to end like that.
I mean,
They need to redo it.
the Night Walkers died like that.
Like that.
I was scared of those guys for 7 seasons. For the night, come on. Like,
Racist house. Winter is coming. Winter is here. And it was
and then boom, died. And then boom, died.
Yeah, so like the first book I read before I started getting into corporate work is called Snakes in Suits, How to Identify Psychopaths at Work. And then I started reading this and I'm like, oh, there she goes, there he goes, there's a psychopath. And the thing is, the psychopaths are not going to go anywhere. You just need to know how to deal with them. You need to identify them, you need to know how to deal with them. Because don't be naive and thinking, oh, everybody's for me, everyone's got my back. No, not everyone's got your back. At the end of the day, you need to take care of yourself. You need to fend for yourself out here.
I know there's a facts though. Like you're on your own.
You're on your own.
Whether you have the nicest manager that smiles with you, hey, listen, you are on your own.
Yeah.
You know, like it's just one of those things. It's unfortunate that the culture of corporate is actually like that. Like, yeah, because like so many people, and like I like entrepreneurs and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I don't like them dissing on, you know, people that work 9 to 5. Listen, hey, sometimes that 9 to 5 nigga is paying for your product.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, but I think that also stems from where there's this whole stigma that 9 to 5 feels like slavery in terms of your working. And the reason for that is because you work so hard, the returns are so little, and you can get to a point, if for example you don't love your job, you get to a point where you can be unhappy. If you're doing what you love, hey bro, listen, you know what I mean? Like if you're a CEO of a company and you're making 15 million a month, listen.
You know how much these executives get? They get paid back. There was a book called Executive Salaries that was written in 2013, so these numbers are outdated. The Sanlam CEO got north of 130 mil, if I'm not mistaken, a year in compensation. That means that there's a cash component and there's a share component. These guys are making bank. Like like some banking CEOs will cash 50, 60, 100 million a year. Now in that case, man, I can work 20 hours a day.
Okay, but then that also brings me to a certain point. Listen, if you're making 100 mil, right? Why are you still firing 100 donnies that are making 10,000 a month?
Well, you need to, like, your business needs to be efficient.
How is it efficient with you making 100 mil a month?
Listen, like I face a lot of stresses. I make strategic decisions, and I'm trying to defend these people.
You know what? Like, you see, this is the thing. Like sometimes I think the guys at the top, all they do is hear presentations from the guys at the bottom, and then make a decision off of that.
Yeah, that's in essence what happens.
So how much work are you really doing?
A lot. Because you're accountable for a lot of things. If things go wrong, you're the first one to know.
No, I get that, but like, yes, it's like, you know how strong it, like, how much it sucks when your VLOOKUP isn't working.
You got the wrong tutorial in Google. You got the wrong tutorial.
They're asking for a file in this format, like, it just feels sometimes like, listen, I've never been in that position to be that high, so I don't know the stresses that they go through. Probably it's a lot more because they have a lot more people that they're more accountable to. Great and all, right? But the thing is, if you have somebody who's bogged down in Excel spreadsheets trying to get you that data that you can read so that you can make that strategic decision, listen, come on, bump the cheese up just a bit.
Bump the cheese up.
Just a bit, man. Like, because like I've also seen in terms of like, they like a lot of my friends will say, nah, listen, they only increase my salary by inflation. Now I'm looking like, okay, cool. Inflation, last year was 3%. Right? It's July 1st. It's going to increase by 15, bruv.
Like those tariffs are going up. Like, guys,
tariffs are going, you know what I mean? Like, I get a 3% increase.
Yeah.
ESCOM increases by 15. I think petrol just increased now as well.
Yeah, it did.
So how is a 3% increase really justified if all of these other things are going on?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah, because I think for me the whole employee corporate culture for me it really goes both ways.
Yeah.
It really goes both ways because you can have really good executives and really good management that there are really some kind of companies I've heard of them giving them above inflation increases and sometimes increases salary by 20-30%
Yeah,
for everybody
yeah,
else,
yeah.
and they'll take a pay cut during
Yeah.
COVID-19 pandemic, so everyone else is fine. Those are some of the outliers, and then you've got the evil corporations. I call it the corporatocracy, right? The corporatocracy out there. Then you've got the other side of employees who just complain all the time and do nothing about it.
You see that that's also the thing there as well. You can't complain if you're not putting in work.
That's the thing.
You know what I mean? You have to put in work, right? And then also see where your value really is, you know? And then a good company will see that, okay, no, you actually do have value. This is what you actually plan. This is your plan. This is what you're planning to do for you, right? And then when it gets to that point, if they fulfill it, but don't tell me about, no, we couldn't make budget this year. Listen, if you gave me a plan, right? It's like, for example, giving a person KPIs, right?
Yeah.
That you need to do A, B, C, D, and E. Boom, you do all your KPIs.
Yeah.
Why am I not getting that jump like you said I should? You know what I mean? It's all those things that, like, it's a two-way relationship. It really is. Like, you shouldn't be scared to go to a manager's office and be like, no, listen, I need to have a conversation like this, you know what I mean? And I don't say my current job, like, you know, I chat to my manager because I'm like, okay, no, these are the certain things I want to work on. These are the certain things I want to improve on. What's your plan?
Yeah.
And then he'll say, no, it's ABC and all of that. So those are the things like.
And then you've got some people who go to their managers and the managers tell them, literally, some people have those conversations. It's good to like have that two-way conversation. For me, I like to encourage employees to treat themselves as a business, and part of that is having a legal team. And when I say legal team, get yourself a labor lawyer. Get someone who's going to go through your contract, just in case things go south. Because I've heard situations where corporates do this, where you know how difficult it is to fire someone in South Africa. It's like completely so difficult. So that's the saying, be careful who you let inside the door. Because you know to fire someone, you'll say, I want to fire Lukho. I can't just say you're fired because you'll take me straight to the CCMA and say you didn't follow due process. So first thing is you need to prove that where your incompetence lies. Then you need to take them through 3 months of trainings and interventions. Then you have to have a hearing after that, and it's a long-winded process. Then you can say he was not doing the best he could, then you can be terminated. But if you do not follow that, Lukho can take me straight to the CCMA, and then as an employee, I'm really screwed. To that, because people don't really read the contracts. Let's be honest.
Hey, you see, congratulations, you have
done. You didn't read your performance appraisals. You didn't read about the termination. You didn't read about non-compete clauses. You didn't read all these things. So I would suggest get yourself a labor lawyer to help you through that, and they're not really that expensive nowadays. Pay them and be like, in the case you have any issues and you understand your contract, so you know how to go and justify to your boss and say, based on the contract, based on my performance and based on my goals, this is why I'm worth X amount. Because what some people would like to do, like, hey, Lukho, I want 50% increase, and they can't tell you why. They're not getting the information.
But then that also makes me wonder then, obviously there's like the legal route after you getting fired. Is there like, you see, this is something that I've been thinking about, like, is there like a legal route, like when you're working? Because in the contract it says, this is all the things you're gonna do, right? And then now all of a sudden, boom, you have to do somebody else's job because they left and all of that, and that wasn't in your contract. Do you not have any grounds contractually to be like?
I think you do. That's why you get yourself a label and say, you want me to do all this work? And get someone to like sense check it, because like a lot of people are not legally literate.
Yeah.
So that's why you can get that person to look through the contract like, hey, they asked me to do different people's jobs, and they're not giving me the chankura. So what do I need to do? Then if you can justify why you need more, then you can have the conversation.
Yeah.
I'd love to do that. Like, go to legal wise, go clientele legal, or any legal, whatever. So this just have that brain to start thinking about that. So a question for you. So like when you start working, you obviously need to start building and cultivating relationship with the managers, relationship with friends or whatnot. How important is it to have the right people in your corner?
Obviously, that's important, right? For me, firstly, you first have to adjust to your manager's managing style, right? But also see what you're comfortable with. Because this is the thing, right? If you're going to micromanage me, right? I'm going to get annoyed. Right?
Well, that's you personally.
Yeah, that's me personally, right? I'm more outcomes based. Listen, if I work from 8 till 3, that doesn't matter as long as my work is done, right? So for me, it's first adapting to the manager's managing style, right? Seeing exactly how they manage. Then when the first, let's say, review comes, this is when I'll bring in stuff in like, no, listen, I've noticed A, B, and C, you know, in terms of how you actually manage. This is what I was thinking in terms of this. So let's at least have some sort of a middle ground in terms of this. That's the way I say it firstly. Because the thing is, I personally don't believe people really have your back. The only reason I say
these trust issues.
no, it goes down to the whole corporate culture, because I've seen people who trust people get their
or to be screwed over.
You know what I mean? So it's not that I don't trust them, right? But the person who has the best interest for me is me, right? You can guide me, you know what I mean, and I will take your advice, but I'll also put my analysis in the advice that you give me, right? I'm not going to take that blindly and be like, you know what, I'm just going to do what they say. No, I'm going to listen to what you say, analyze the situation, and see if that is the correct way I should be attacking it or not.
You're being a clever
You're being clever. Like this is the thing, right? If you're going to take everything blindly, you're like, no, look, sign this. Hey, can't you sign in transfer? You know what I mean? You transferring cash into their personal bank account, all of that, instead of reading through everything before you actually sign it. You know what I mean? So it's those things where I have the best interest for me, but I will definitely take advice from a manager, supervisor, analyze that, and see if that's the best course for me. You know? I really don't like believing also in friends in corporates.
Oh.
I personally don't like that.
Why not?
Because we're here to work.
It's business. Business is business.
We're here to work. Let's do our job. Right? Obviously, we'll have some sort of chats about personal stuff, because at the end of the day, your personals will affect your business as well. If you're going through some trying times and stuff like that, you know. But I don't believe in having friends, like, they're not part of my circle. You know what I mean? Yeah, they're part of my corporate circle, you know. Like, I will confide in things that I'm struggling with, work related, you know, like, how do I tackle this, you know, and things like that. But personally, I don't believe in having, like, friends from corporate. I just don't. I would rather be your friend if you leave the company after that. Then I now cool, you know, we can be friends.
About how bad influence in the season was.
I'm so mad about that.
Yeah,
so like that's the way I see it in terms of having, like, yes, it's very good to have a very good manager. Like, that's very important in terms of how they cultivate your career.
They say people leave managers, not jobs.
Those are the facts. I've seen people leave, like, they're just like, I'm done. I don't have a plan B. But I'm getting out of here.
I'm out.
Like, I've seen that. So like, people leave managers because of the management. That's why I feel it's so necessary to address their management stuff. And listen, it's not a fun conversation for anybody, because you're criticizing your manager in essence, right? And listen, with some managers that could go south for you.
Very quickly.
That could go south for you as well. So it's one of those things where are you gonna take it or are you gonna find ways to address it?
Yes.
You know what I mean? And it's all about finding ways to address it. I'm not an expert on the ways you're supposed to address it and all of that, but you just need to find a way to address it, or you're gonna end up being extremely unhappy. If every time you hate being micromanaged and they're just checking up on you, look, where is this? Where is that? Where is this? This. You know what I mean? Like, that's gonna be ridiculous, right? Instead, rather have like meet them in the middle. If you know they're like checking on you, and you don't like being checked on, just rather say, no, listen, can I give you like a daily update in the morning, right?
And leave me alone.
And then leave me alone for the rest of the day. Unless it's something that's urgent.
This is
right?
good for me because I manage people.
You know, that's it's all about meeting them in the middle, you know? And then that's how you create such a good working relationship, because your manager understands how you work, and you also understand how your manager works. So now you're meeting each other's expectations, and then also with the fact that you said leave me alone, I'll give you a daily thing. Now if you don't do that,
they have the right to
micromanage you, because you're the one who fucked up and didn't do it yourself. Exactly, you know what I mean? So if you're gonna do those things, you know, and set those expectations, just make sure you also meet them. That's why, once again, I say it's a two-way relationship, because you have to also do your part. Listen, hey, work ain't free. And work ain't free.
It's not free.
Work ain't free. You have to put in work at the end of the day. So that's the way I see it.
That's the way you see it. And then friendships and relationships outside of work. Now, so let's put work to the side. In terms of like personal friendships and relationships, a lot of those things can go really well, or they can go really south. In terms of how do you find someone who you know is for Lukho, like I'm here, this is my nigga, I'm here for, versus somebody who can just use you for the sake of you being you. How important is it for you to be to discern who's good for you and who's not good for you? Because I've personally been through situations where I was like, you know, you've gone through those things. You're not being betrayed, you're not being lied to, you're not being used for who you are. And then there are other friends where you never thought that these would be the guys that would be for you, but then the chips were down, these are people for you. So how can you pick the best company and the best friends?
Well, firstly for me, I don't go out looking for a friend like that.
Okay.
It'll just gravitate naturally. The more time we spend together as friends. Also, like, I'll give little testers, man. Like, I'll tell you something a little personal, right? But that's not too deep. And we'll see if you're just out here chatting about it. Hey, man, you know what I mean?
Hashtag hashtag daily sun.
You know? So, like, it all comes down to the more time you spend with them, the more you can see that you can trust them. But also, how you have to see how they move with their friends. Like, and also, how do you treat me in front of your friends that you've known longer? You're gonna start treating me like a bitch. Like, oh, so I'm this guy to you. I'm gonna cool. Like, that's the way I see it. It's all about time at the end of the day. The more time you spend with someone, the more you get to know them, right? That's the way I see it. Like, you spend more time with them, you know. Listen, don't just meet anybody. Like, for me personally, I don't just meet everybody and I'm out in the open. This is me. Nah, I am not about that life. Hey, bruv, listen, this circle is you know. The more time you spend with them, the more you see how they act with you, how they act with other people in front of you, and how they also treat their friends. Listen, if you're my friend, and then you're speaking shit about your other friend,
best believe
to me, I'm like, that's like a red flag, but I'm not gonna really talk to you about my things now, innit? Because that's clearly how you move, right? Unless you tell me, like, listen, this nigga ain't shit because he did A, B, and C to me. And I'm like, alright, listen, no, man's confessing by age, he did this to me. You know?
Exactly.
So that's the way I see it. It's all about time. The more time I spend with you, the more I can trust you. but also break that trust. That's where the problems lie. Like I will cut you off, bruv.
So is it like, this is someone breaks your trust? Like, for example, you confide in someone and say, look, listen, I have a pimple on my forehead that just doesn't want to go away. Something stupid like that, and it's very personal to you. And then they go out and they tell someone that you shouldn't have told, and you find out, and you're like, nigga, what did you do that for? Is there a way that they can re-earn your trust, or is it done?
See, it depends how personal it is.
Yeah.
And some things I could just be like, you know what, maybe, like for example, pimple on my forehead,
Yeah.
maybe, I can get over that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But if it's something really personal,
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of example I can make.
Like maybe you're struggling with some form of trauma and you just tell this person.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Make it.
And then, now that's when you're pissing me off. Because I trusted you with something so personal to me.
Yeah.
And you took it lightly.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to trust you I don't know, like if I can ever trust you again. Because listen, that was something so personal.
Yeah.
Maybe we can still be friends, but I won't give you that level of trust again. We can still be acquaintances, but I'll definitely watch how I move around you. The things that I say around you, we can still be acquaintances, maybe not friends, because now you're gonna call me up, hey, let's have a bride. Nah, listen, I don't feel like it.
Bride.
Yeah.
Nah, nigga, I ain't gonna have a bride. Because you have alcohol, then have me tell you some more personal stuff so you can go tell other people.
Hey, brother, you know what I mean? So,
how could you be so disrespectful,
brother?
Go all Stephen A. Smith on the way.
The blasphemy! Blasphemy!
How dare you? How dare you?
I got killed.
Stephen A. Smith.
I got killed.
It's so funny. Oh my goodness. Oh wow. You don't know basketball. Oh yeah. So there's different levels of friendship from what I'm gauging with you. Okay.
Yeah, there's obviously acquaintances.
Yeah.
People I work with, for example, are acquaintances.
Yeah.
They are friends.
Yeah.
Like we're cool and everything.
Yeah.
But there's certain things I'll probably still hold back. Then there are my friends, people that I really feel like I can trust on. You know what I mean? But then obviously you break the one that's here. You go in there and you stay in there.
You go to the phantoms. You go to the nether.
That's the way I see friendships personally in terms of that.
Yeah. So have you ever had a situation where you trusted someone and you had to cut them off? Like, what was the entire process? You don't have to go into details, but how did it feel? How did you approach it? And how did it shape how you interact with friends now going forward?
That happened. So I was mad. That happened. So obviously it feels like shit. Yeah. You're like, if you were my boy and you're gonna be doing this to me and stuff like that. So I was like, alright, cool. This happened. Next steps, bruv, we're not gonna talk much. Like even if you're reaching out and stuff like that, I'm not gonna reach out back. Then we see each other, hey man, I haven't seen you in a while. Well, what do you think? Right? And this is the thing about gents as well. They don't like apologizing.
Like why do we not like apologizing?
Or when you do hard. You know,
hard. That's hard enough. I need you to get on video.
Hey,
I need you to go to a radio show. I need you to write it down.
Hey, listen.
And then just write a speech. I'm like, I'm so sorry.
Hey, man, text me like you're texting your girl.
Exactly.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
please forgive me.
We'll see how sorry.
Hey, right. You know, like,
and don't forget the emojis. You gotta show. Throw in the emojis.
Yeah, it has to. Yes, it has to look like a Christmas party.
Yeah.
So that's the way I saw it. Like, listen, I'll stop reaching out to you. I'll stop really talking to you. Listen, when we see each other in front of all our friends, I'll be cool, you know. Yeah. But even in that scenario, I won't even divulge anything to my real friends. You know. But I also let my niggas know about Jonah. Donnie, he messed up.
He's a bitch ass nigga.
Guy out. He did this, right?
Yeah.
So I'll let them know. Why? So that I don't make it awkward for them. So that they know, but okay, listen, mans didn't move correctly. So That's why Luke was the way he is towards him. And I don't want to change that. I don't want to change how I feel.
Exactly.
You know, because you messed up my trust.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's the thing. Unfortunately, I've been on the other end of the state where
you broke the trust.
Well, I broke the trust.
Oh.
And that's cut me off. And you know what? And you know what? I understood that.
That was you.
Yeah, that wasn't it. And listen, I understood that, you know, because I get where it's coming from.
I was just looking for an excuse to use that. Sorry.
Like, I understood that eventually, during the time you don't, right? But eventually, over time, as you get older, I understood why he felt that way. Because especially when it happens to you, it's like, for example, if you look at a situation where, for example, like when you do the cheating in a relationship, right? It's like, I saw, I didn't even have that.
Yeah.
For example, you cheat, right? You're just like, oh, I saw yada, right? And then they leave you, and it's like, but like we had something, like why would you leave me and all of that?
Cheated.
Exactly, right?
And you got caught.
When you get cheated on,
You
right?
lose your mind.
You lose.
Guys,
You
bad, made up bad with the same. Yo, guys,
Horrible. I honestly don't understand how women stay with these niggas.
We'll go crazy. We'll go crazy. For example, you'll cheat like for a very long time with multiple women, maybe even a friend, maybe even a sister. I don't know about the depth that may go out there. And then they forgive you, and they really forgive you. And then they caught in a moment of weakness, and something happens. Maybe they go cheat with maybe one person, or whatever the case is. Guys will lose their mind. They'll be like, and they'll go crazy, and they're not gonna really like you'll forgive them. But like you have been forgiven, but you can't forgive the other person. Yeah, it sucks. Yeah, it's bad. However,
but this is the thing, though. I unfortunately, I see that men value themselves a lot more than women.
that is very true.
That really comes down to what you think you value yourself
As, yeah.
You know? Because niggas wanna say what? Sorry.
And I'm out this place. I'm out.
You know,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
you
yeah.
see, that's my issue, is that, like, when it comes down to it, especially that, men value themselves a lot more.
Yeah.
Because they're like, hey, man, I'm gonna keep having flashbacks of this nigga up in your butt cheeks
all day.
all day.
All day. I
You
can't
know?
even get over it.
Exactly. And, like, women,
I mean, Will Smith is fine.
well, I mean, he's having other butt cheeks. Surely. Okay, apparently. Allegedly.
We don't know. No one knows. Because I mean, like, even that couple, they'll come out and said, people have said that they're swingers and all that stuff. They've refuted those claims, so I'll take their word for it, because like it's Hollywood and people come up with all these things.
Yeah.
But everyone says that Will's been busy, and everyone says that Jay has been busy. In fact, everyone in Hollywood is busy apparently.
I mean, Jada gets into entanglements. Those are her words. You know, she got into an entanglement.
We're entanglement with August. That was like honestly.
But I felt so, you see, like, this is the one, like, that relationship sometimes pisses me off.
Why?
No, because, for example, like, okay, I understand that Jada had a great relationship with Tupac, right?
Yeah. But nothing happened. They were like really
Okay,
good friends.
I get that, right?
Yeah.
But why is it every time he has a birthday, there's a new poem that she wrote, and every time it's his birthday, Will Smith is trending because of Jada?
It's not Jada, Jada. Yeah, that was a big weird. You know the thing about Tupac, and he's a mythical creature at this point. He's like a myth. Like he's like, those people you wouldn't actually believe actually existed.
Yeah.
Guy died at 25. He released so many songs. People think he's alive. He's not alive. Whatnot. Now you like a person like that, you'll be thinking as a figment of your imagination. It's nothing more than an imaginary ghost that torments you. I don't know. Like we should have gone through a close relationship. Maybe she just likes she was a close guy. I mean, like he's a legend. I wouldn't do it, but maybe like this.
I get close relationship, man.
Yeah.
But I mean, that was like what? When did Tupac die? 96?
I think it was 96, 97.
Yeah, it's over 20 years now.
20 years. He would have been 50. So yeah.
Like it's over 20 years.
It was 26. What was it? 24 years ago. Yeah. 24.
And I'm still hearing about this guy.
Yeah.
And Like, I don't know how Will Smith does it personally. Me, I don't
Here's
know.
what you have to understand with Will Smith. If you think about his journey, right? He was a street kid and he stayed with his uncle. Then he fought robots. Then he fought aliens. Then he was the first cowboy in Wild Wild West. And then he's gone to do all these movies. And then he got shot. And then came back on Bad Boys for Life. So he's a strong guy. He can do it. And like, listen, like
They were like niggas, they lost
that's movie, but like they've got a fantastic relationship. I can't really.
I don't know enough.
We don't. No one knows enough.
I see what they.
I should get Will on the show.
That's a shit.
I should get Will Smith. I'm like, hey, well, you're a Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, but I'm Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Just know that. Know that. Know that. What do you think about this guy, Bambizu Uchuk?
Yeah?
Yeah, so he went through the entire thing, he killed 4 people, and he started repeating himself. Then he comes up with this show. And he's playing the man, he's pushing up, I'm just living my life. And then this guy friend, I'm a camera, I'm shoot.
Firstly, I don't like how those bouncers handle those niggas. Oh, chill, yes!
We are Jonah
Yo!
We are Jonah
Firstly, the way those bouncers had, yay!
What do you think about a concept of a show like that?
I get where it's coming from. Like, if you look at, for example, what was that old show? Cheaters, right?
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are trying to find closure. Obviously, that person has a way to be like, I distrust this person.
Yeah.
Surely something's wrong, right?
Yeah.
And then boom, something is wrong,
Yeah.
right? So I get that concept. Very entertaining. I just don't like sometimes how they get into people's houses. Right? There's no sense of privacy in terms of that. Like, you know what I mean? It's those small aspects. I think the concept of the show is great. I mean, seriously a hit right now. Sometimes I also don't like the way he addresses the guys. You know what I mean?
So disrespectful.
Like, he's very freaking disrespectful. I won't like, hey, why don't you do so when I'm like, no, I'm just like, oh, my chick, bruv.
In private, let's say you shouldn't do it, but like, come on. Yeah.
I can imagine how much chats there are in the community after those guys with yeses. Like,
oh yeah.
So the concept of the show is good. I like it. Also, it helps with people bringing closure. My one thing though is, why is it that with every episode the person is cheating? Why can't we get an episode by and check Unji Daukren? And he's really not doing anything. He's really not doing anything.
Because there's no spice in it. No one wants to hear a story. No, like who, like radio, or you're gonna tune into TV. You just we go on this entire thing. I think Lukho's cheating. Oh, and you start. Oh, he messed up now. Oh, he messed up now. He's busy with some other woman. And then you find out next, he's just chilling with a friend. He wants to know how to write a book to be addressed to his woman. That's it. No one wants to know what kind of storylines that people want negative stuff. People will gravitate to more negative content than positive things. Because people don't focus on the things that, for example, guys are getting right out there. Guys are doing a lot of good stuff out there. But you only want to focus on the men are trash, hey, they're cheating, hey, they're beating women. I mean, okay, yeah, that stuff's there, but I'm sure a lot of men are doing a lot of great things.
I think that's just the reality of TV, news, and everything, right? You hardly hear of beautiful stories, you know, and even if you do, they just get swept under the rug.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at it, if you even look at it from a reputational standpoint, you could have done 100 great things. It takes that one thing
to mess it up,
to mess everything up. You know what I mean? Like, you did so many good things, and then that one thing is what one bad thing is what you'll be remembered for. You know, so it also just depends what that one thing is. I'm not going to lie, like,
if you kill someone,
like, what are you doing?
Don't kill someone.
Like, don't kill them, don't rape, don't beat up a woman. Listen, you know, like, obviously it depends on what that thing is, right? Granted, but they, with a lot of entertainment, news, all of that, it's all focused on the negative. And the positive is just like, oh, that's cute. Anyway,
he swore on TV, but you don't know that he's paying for 50 kids to go to school.
Bruv.
Like, come on. Let's talk about those stories.
Like, when has fuck really ever hurt you?
Actually.
Like, now imagine, we just out here on this podcast, and we're like beep, 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 beep the whole time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, just like let people express themselves as well.
Yeah.
Like,
And offense is taken. Like, we're in the whole generation of snowflakes.
bruv, yay!
Snowflakes. People are just
Yay.
offended too easily. I think that people are offended too easily.
I sometimes wonder how this generation would have been like with Prime Eminem.
Prime Eminem. You know they're trying to cancel this Gen Z. They're trying to cancel Eminem.
Come on,
you can't cancel a guy
Come
who don't
on,
care about
man.
being canceled.
Come on, man. Come on, man. This man had presidents talking about him. You think he cares about what you gonna say?
Like, he doesn't care.
Come on, man.
Because, no one wants to diss Eminem. No one ever wants to diss Eminem.
Yeah, you know.
Machine Gun Kelly tried that. What
Come
happened?
He was looking for clouds.
He was looking for clouds. Of course, he was looking for clouds. You also, you had Nasty C. I love the guy to death. He came out and said
He
he's
said
Eminem.
what? He said that.
No, he said that on
Look, I like his music. Shouts out there to see.
Get you on the show soon.
Yeah, but I don't think he can.
But
Even now, from a technical aspect, because right now the way I feel Eminem, technically,
Yeah.
he's still great.
Yeah.
My only issue with him right now, he doesn't ride a beat like he used to.
Yeah.
He doesn't ride a beat like he used to. But also, like, the way he also got so big was he used to talk about a lot of personal stuff
Yeah.
that he was going through.
Yeah.
Obviously, his daughter,
Yeah, his mom.
his relationship with his mom, the beef in the industry, and all of that.
Yes, yeah.
Now he doesn't really talk about that stuff. You know what I mean? And it just doesn't feel as personal as it used to be.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's one or two songs right now. I think
Yeah.
was his last album, 1 or 2 albums back, like, where you can say, okay, nah, you know, like you still see flashes of it,
Yeah,
you know, but
not that raw.
it's not that raw element, you know.
I think that's what happens inevitably once you reach a certain level of success, because you don't have the problems that you used to. You know, for me, I love Kevin Hart. I love him to death. He's not as funny for me as he used to because he doesn't have as many problems as he used to have. Now he used to talk about him fighting with his wife and good police coming in, but now he's talking about the hot type of rich holidays that he has. A lot of people can't necessarily relate to that.
Yeah,
He's still funny.
I was actually
It's not
saying,
as
it's all
fun.
about also relatability. Like, if you want to tell me that you have problems and you have problems with sleeping in Gucci sneakers, you know, what are that? I don't know. Like, I can't relate to that.
Kids are like having a hard time in private school.
private school.
Everyone goes kids
You know
go
what
to
I mean?
private
Also,
school.
but I also get where they're coming from
Yeah.
because their source of inspiration
Yeah.
is their actual life.
Yes, the actual life.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
So like as they progress, things will.
Mm.
I think that's why Dave Chappelle is still untouchable because Dave Chappelle is observational.
Yeah.
He'll talk about what he sees
Yeah.
out there. He also talk about his personal life.
Yeah.
I think he's the only comedian that can talk about how rich he is, and no one's going to take that really personal.
Yeah.
There's a YouTube video out there of how Dave Chappelle dodges laser beams. We should look it up. I'll send it to you and look it up, and you can see why he's still the most relatable comedian out there. But at the end of the day, once you get to a certain level of success, it's very hard for you to say I'm still the person struggling because really you're not.
you're
Really.
not.
Yeah.
But I still think also in terms of looking at observational comedy, I think Trevor does
Trevor
very
Noah's
well
fantastic.
because
Yeah.
I like how
I
in
need
his
to-
comedy,
That's why I need to
yeah.
get on the show. So, I want to get him one.
Like, I like how he tackles issues,
Yeah.
right, in his comedy.
Yeah.
He talks about his life and stuff like that, but like a lot of his comedies about him traveling and stuff like that and what he sees,
What he sees.
in certain
And
governments.
he makes fun of that and he puts on
Exactly.
accents, and that's why
He's so good at the accents.
he's so
Yeah,
good at
that's
accents. Yes, he's amazing. He's amazing. Like I heard he would practice it and go to voice coaches and all that stuff. So I can really believe.
Yeah, no, I can't. Like, he really nails it.
He really nails it. So let's circle back to hip hop because I think it's very very interesting to me. So in terms of this whole GOAT debate, this mythical title of GOAT, okay, and from a hip hop perspective, who's like your top 5 greatest of all time and also why?
Okay, in no particular order.
You're gonna offend whoever people are gonna be offended anyway, man.
No particular order. Number 1 is Eminem for me.
Eminem.
I grew up on his music. Technically, he's really.
How could you like that white boy? I'm joking. I'm joking. Someone said that Eminem can't be the GOAT because he's white. I can't believe
dumb
this.
as hell.
I can't believe
That is
this.
dumb as hell. That person is dumb. Yes, imagine that.
I also put Eminem as for me, number one.
Number two, Jay-Z.
Yeah.
Reason for Jay-Z. One thing I don't like about it, he doesn't have his era.
What do you mean era?
If you look at it, there was the Tupac era,
Yeah.
Biggie era.
Yeah.
Then you had your Eminem era. Eminem had his own run.
Yeah.
50 Cent had his own run.
Yeah.
Lil Wayne had his run.
Yeah.
Drake had his run. Jay-Z was number two all the way there.
All the way there, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was my issue with Jay-Z.
Okay, you didn't have like.
But
Yeah.
if you're there
Yeah.
at the top,
Consistently.
even now, I mean, he drops one verse on a DJ Khaled song,
People go
boom,
crazy.
people are still going crazy.
Yeah.
So his consistency is just ridiculous.
Unmatched, yeah.
Nah, it's just unmatched.
Yeah.
Number three, I'm going for Lil Wayne.
Lil Wayne. Okay.
I am going to go for Lil Wayne.
Okay, you go from Mr. Carter.
Yeah, I'm going to go for Mr. Carter.
Yeah.
There was no run like his. He was literally untouchable.
Yeah.
Eminem wanted to diss him at a time because he was that untouchable.
Yeah.
You know, plus also in terms of punchlines, he was just punchline after punchline after punchline.
Yeah.
So in terms of runs, yeah,
He's up there.
yeah, he's definitely up there. Number four, still needs to put in a bit of work. Kendrick Lamar for me.
Kendrick Lamar all time.
Yeah, I'm gonna put Kendrick up there.
Okay.
Also, this is the thing, right? I can't put those older guys up there because I don't really understand their music and their era.
By the way, this is Lukho's top 5, so please.
Yeah, this is my top. This is my top 5 because this is the thing. People are going to say someone like Nas, for example. I don't really feel Nas. The reason why he only had one good album for me.
Yeah.
Right. After that, his body of work.
He's got 6 platinum albums. What are you talking about?
Yeah, don't tell me about numbers. Didn't Nas, I think I read this once. Don't quote me on this, guys.
I'm quoting on it. I'll
But-
put the transcript of it.
But he said himself,
Yeah.
his best album was his first album.
Oh.
Because he really couldn't
Illmatic.
capture. Yeah, Illmatic, exactly.
That's the best album.
That was,
I think it's the best album.
if we're talking about albums,
that's
then that's there.
That's
right?
that's poetry.
But
Yeah.
in terms of the artist,
Yeah.
after that, the
was
stuff
like-
that he did, he was,
it was okay.
because when I look at Eminem's career, and if I look at Eminem, Jay-Z, Lil Wayne, they all went up from their first albums.
Nas was
When straight from there, boom. You know, okay, maybe not boom,
Boom,
that's
like,
slow,
yeah.
you know what I mean? So that's my issue with
Yeah.
a guy like him. You
Yeah.
know? Also, I don't know the older guys
Yeah.
or Rakim and all that. I don't know them.
KRS-One.
KRS-One.
Master Flash.
You know, I
Run
don't know.
DMC.
Yeah, those
Yeah,
guys.
yeah.
You know, I don't know them. But also, on a technical ability, those guys aren't gonna touch these new boys.
Is it?
Nah, they don't.
I'll argue that Biggie's skills on the mic is almost.
In terms of flow, yeah.
In terms of flow, you can't.
In terms of
Yeah.
flow,
Well,
yeah.
in terms of his flow. I'm talking about just in terms of his flow.
Yeah.
I honestly wish those two, Biggie and Tupac, they're not in my top 5 all time because I've been around long enough. When we say all time, we need to be in the game for 20 years. They got cut down really short. But in terms of icons of rap, they're the top 2 in terms of icons. If you go to someone who literally knows nothing about hip hop, you go say Biggie, Tupac, they'll know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Sometimes if you go say Lil Wayne to someone like you might not like, oh, I think I've heard of him, but like in terms of icons, because they're legendary, they got cut down in the brand. I would say those two up there, but in terms of greatest of all time, so in terms of you named 4, you had Eminem, you had Jay-Z, Lil Wayne, you had Kendrick, who else?
Kanye West.
Kanye West.
I'm gonna put Mr. Yeezy up there. I'm going to put Kanye West up there. Do you know why I want to put Kanye West up there?
I'm sure you got a good reason.
When I started listening to him,
Yeah, the college dropout.
right, college dropouts.
Yeah,
Mans was not like, if you look at that era,
yeah.
it was gangster rap.
Yeah, gangster.
50 was killing it right there.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe I could have put 50 up there. But anyway,
No.
maybe. Hey, listen,
Yeah.
his Get Rich or Die Trying album.
That was amazing.
That's
Oh, that
right
was
up
amazing.
there. That's right up there.
No one came out the gate like 50 did.
Hey, man.
Oh my gosh.
Sure. He was talking about Free Tony here. I don't know who he
I
was,
don't know.
but I was saying Free Tony here.
Who's Tony? I don't know.
but Free Tony here.
Yeah.
So Kanye West the reason I want to put him up there
Yes.
is how experimental he is with his music. Sometimes it doesn't hit.
Yeah, but he's a musical genius.
You
You
know,
can't take that away from him as a musical
Drake
genius.
does kind of right for himself.
He does. He does right
All
for
of his
himself.
stuff.
I don't know. I can't say all of his stuff.
Okay, because this is the thing. I don't like putting people up there
Who have ghostwriters?
who have ghostwriters.
Yeah, but you don't know who has a ghostwriter who
Drake.
does.
Apparently.
It's apparent.
Apparently.
Drake.
I've heard.
Drake.
No, well, I haven't heard. There have been accusations that are thrown out.
Accusations.
Right?
Until he can.
You see, my issue though, right,
Yeah.
is that if you, for example, you try to accuse Eminem of
Yeah.
having a ghostwriter, he's
Yeah.
gonna come at you saying, "I don't have a ghostwriter."
Yeah.
Right?
Did Drake keep quiet?
Has he said
I
anything?
don't know.
Has he said anything?
I'm
Right?
not giving people the benefit of the doubt, you know.
Okay, fine. He doesn't have a ghostwriter then.
I'm giving the benefit until he comes and says I have a ghostwriter. Then well, this is documented. Yeah, no, because I've heard there's this channel called Hip Hop DX. I'm sure you know about it, right? Hip Hop DX. Like go and research it. There is the whole thing about ghostwriters and ghostwriting debates and whatnot. And there was that accusation about Drake having a ghostwriter, and that's why some people are like he's great, but because of that. That takes away from the shine because think about it, if there's a line, what's your favorite line in rap? Just give me your favorite line of yours. The one that first comes to your mind.
G's moving silence like lasagna.
Right, so let's say that one's there, that's the one. And then you find out it was ghostwritten. How much respect do you have for the quote unquote artist? Takes the shine off, doesn't it?
That's because if you, for example, we say Illmatic.
Yeah.
Nas didn't write Illmatic. Like all those emotions that you felt with him.
It takes the shine off.
You
So
know
that's
what I
why
mean?
some people, if you find out you have a ghostwriter, it's still great. However, it does take a bit of the shine off.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
this is the thing, right? As a hip hop artist, Drake is there.
Yes.
I can't put him on my GOAT
On your goat list.
because of that.
Because of that taint.
That like also going back down to Kanye, he made it cool to be a guy that has a school, a backpack.
Yeah.
I was a backpacker here in China. I ain't never shot a gun before. I ain't never shot a gun before. Oh, 50 Cent, man, listen, I could jam to that, but I see a gun, Jonga, hey.
He's a backpacker. Okay, so
Yeah,
that's your top five. You've got Eminem, you've got Jay-Z, you've got Lil Weezy, you've got you said Kendrick, then you've got Kanye West. Okay, all right, okay. That's
It's an interesting top five.
That's a very interesting top five. And everyone's top five is different
you
to
know?
them. Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna hit on somebody who puts Tupac and Biggie and
Yeah,
those
yeah.
all the guys there because they really understood that music from that era and all of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm just going from the perspective of my era
Yeah.
in the 20 years that I've listened to hip hop.
Yeah.
This is what I've seen.
Yeah, that's what
right.
you've seen, yeah.
So like, I can't hate on a little kid.
Yeah.
Right. That says Travis Scott is his number one.
Yeah, you can't.
I can't.
Because
I
that's
can
what
question
he
it.
knows. That's what he knows.
I can question
That's
it.
what he knows.
But I can't, because even if I try to make them listen to the older
Cats, yeah.
the older cats, all this stuff, he can't relate to it
Yeah.
because he's not growing up there.
Yeah.
You know, he's not growing up around all of that. You know,
Yeah.
where the vibe of the entire music industry is
Yeah.
that, right?
Yeah.
Still don't understand what these mumble rappers are saying. Yeah, shouts out to those guys. They make it. I would like it. They got some nice vibes.
Future's got some good stuff.
Like, he's got some good stuff. Like,
Purpose.
ask a lot of people what that is. You're like, what is that? What is money?
Is it a drug or something?
You see?
Oh, that to me. Oh, my friends like that. Push me to the edge.
I went to the club and was it a week or two ago.
Yeah.
I was like,
What's going on here?
hey, like, I don't know what they saying,
Jamming.
but it's a jam,
It's a
bro.
jam. They're hit makers. For
Yeah,
me,
they are.
my top five in rap was my brother got me into it with Air of Snoop Dogg and Biggie and Tupac. So I listened to all that stuff. For me, one is Eminem. I'm sorry, the rap god himself. And I'm being objective about it. Forget the fact that he's white, and no one really wants to diss him because if you do, you're dead. Like it's
Yeah,
it's
isn't
done.
it?
For me, Eminem won, and then I'm going to agree and say Jay-Z second because of the longevity, because of the mark he's had on the game. He's still considered a god out there. Three, I'm going to put Andre 3000. I'm going to put 3 stacks in there, purely from a technical ability and the respect that he has.
I feel that. Yeah.
That's why, even though he doesn't have a solo album, he's still in good debates. He's just amazing. Like, 3 stacks.
Oh, yeah.
Three stacks is great. 4 and 5 becomes a bit difficult for me because originally I've been so into Biggie, I've been so into Tupac, but if I'm looking at greatest of all time, I can't justify putting them in there because they haven't been around long enough. So this is where I'll go. Jeez, it's so tough here. I would have to put Lil Wayne in there because he's been around for more than 20 years. He's been there, he's put in his time. So I've got Eminem, I've got Jay-Z, I've got 3 stacks, I've got Lil Wayne. The 5th one is where it becomes really a head tosser for me. I can't put Kanye West in there because greatest of all time, rapper, really, no. I will have to go with the person who opened up the doors for Biggie, for Tupac, inevitably Jay-Z, and then inevitably Eminem, and that will be Rakim. Because if you look at the rhymes before Rakim, it was AABB. I'm into the hood.
Chilling with my homies and sitting out.
And then, exactly, it's like the Will Smith time around. You know? That's good, but it's not like a good status. It's because like he put rhymes within rhymes, and you could rhyme with the sound, so that gave birth to the entire rhyme, like good rappers that we have now. So that's my top 5, just purely for that reason. You people could swap it out and people say Tupac and Biggie. For me, they're on long enough, but
I think the older generation puts Tupac and Biggie there because of.
But they operated for like 5-6 years. So.
Okay, I get that, right?
Yeah.
But when you felt the impact, it was hard. You felt like it was the impact that they had, right?
Yeah.
That was the biggest thing, firstly. And secondly, like, them going against what East Coast, West Coast, hey man, those news people like, oh, gangster rap. Gangster rap is coming in today. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
I cannot forget about Ice Cube with no Vaseline.
I could actually put out Ice Cube was so hard. I mean, after also watching, what's that, Straight Outta Compton? To understand that he used to write for a lot of those guys.
Yeah, no, Ice Cube, I remember watching a documentary called Beef. It talks about rivalries, and then what he had with who was he beefing with? He wrote King of the Hill. I don't know who he was beefing with, but he just absolutely murdered him. Like I still had him put in no Vaseline. He had King of the Hill. He's one of the person you just don't want to go this and then battle.
I actually remember watching that Beef thing.
Yeah.
When that whole 50 Cent and Ja Rule episode came on, that thing was like, I really don't like this guy. I was like, nah, 50 really didn't like Charlie. Like, even to this day,
that like, counts to this day.
Yeah, like, but going back to Tupac and Biggie, I think because you felt that whole impact, like you felt that like this shit is real, you know, for them. What they're rapping about is real, and that impact. They were literally willing to die for what they rap, and that's exactly what happened.
Nowadays, they died.
You know, they died.
Yeah.
They were shot at. Boom, boom, boom.
Both of them like a year apart.
You know,
so that's why a lot of people put them up there.
You know, because they went there. Listen, 1996. I was 4 years old. Yeah. I don't know all of that. I'm
still getting sick of Genesis.
You know what I mean? I'm 4 years old when I listen. I don't know about all of that, so I can't relate to that. That's why.
So it's like the whole prisoner of the moment thing. So that's why it's difficult for people to definitively say 100% who the greatest of all time is, unless you talk about basketball.
There we go. I was about to go there.
LeBron James is the greatest basketball player of all time. When I listen to people say that, I'm like, I got that for them. I got that for them. I got that. LeBron James is great. I love him as a player, but I don't think.
My respect for LeBron has grown a lot.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Because I never liked the guy, right?
Why?
I just didn't. Because people were calling him the GOAT, and I was like, come on.
He called himself a GOAT. Remember that?
You see, that was my issue. Right? Like, what is he? 4 and 6 in the finals.
4 and 6 in the finals, and he got swept twice in the finals. Like swept.
See what I mean? People will make the argument though that Listen, he got to the finals 10 times.
Yeah, but to that, the level of competition.
He lost.
He
lost.
He lost. Unfortunately.
I don't like, of his losses,
Yeah.
the one I'm most mad about,
Yeah.
that I really felt that is an L,
Yeah.
is the one to the Mavs.
No, he didn't show up there. No, he went.
It's the one to the Mavs. Those guys were talking crap about
not one, not two, not three, not four, not five, not six. Hey, I really believe that it was two. You got two.
You know, so it's
for me, my goal is I've taken time to really think about this in terms of basketball. One, Michael Jordan, I don't need to really go into why, but 6 for 6, 6 finals MVP, he's never allowed a game 7. Killer Will, he never got swept in the finals, he never lost in the finals. People like to talk about the game 7 that LeBron won in 2016.
okay.
Yeah, he won a game 7, but here's a
Kyrie got that shot for him.
Yeah, he made that shot. Yeah, but he still won a game.
Ray Allen got it.
Yeah, Ray. I'm saying
Let's skip Bayless when you need it.
skip Ray. No, skip. So LeBron has won a game 7 in the finals. But Michael Jordan didn't need a game 7. He never went to a game 7 because he shut you down. That's why. And if you like the thing about the greatest of all time, my thing is, if you're the greatest of all time, no one needs to tell you that you're the greatest of all time. No one needs to tell you. No, you don't need to tell people. Sorry, people will say Lukho's the greatest of all time. He's called the greatest of all time by the greatest players of all time. So that's Michael Jordan. Then 2, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I'll put Kareem up there because six championships, the highest, most wins in the NBA. He's got the most points in the NBA. He's got the most regular season MVPs in the NBA. And I put him. Some people have him as great, better than Jordan. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna leave you guys alone. Then 3, I'll put Bill Russell just for the 11 rings. Just for the 11 rings. 4, I'll put in Magic Johnson, and then 5, I'll put in Kobe. For me.
You're not putting LeBron in the top 5.
I'm just being disrespectful. I'm just being disrespectful.
And I thought I didn't like the guy.
No, I like LeBron. Like the most he will get on my top 5 is 3rd. That's the highest he will go for now. Because right now people say he's the second greatest player of all time. You guys forgot that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar existed, and he won a lot of chips. And he won MVP, and he's the highest scorer, and like he was the best player in high school, and the best player in college, and at one point he was best in the NBA. So I'll put him 2nd. The most LeBron will get to is 3rd.
I might put LBJ 2nd.
Why would you put LBJ 2nd?
I might actually put him 2nd.
Why?
That man's a freak of nature.
He is a freak of, like, people need to
Because this is the thing, right? When he first got swept, right? Remember that Cavs team?
Yeah, it was trash. He had a trash
Name
team.
me a player from that.
didn't.
You see, that's the thing. Like, he was carrying bums.
Yeah,
Right?
he's carried a lot of bums to the finals.
So, like, and also, like, listen, points wise, what is it now?
He's
Second?
he's
Third or second?
4th.
I passed Kobe.
No, I think he's 3rd. I think he's 3rd.
Yeah,
No?
he's
There's
up there,
Kareem
you know.
up there. Then we've got Karl Malone. Then I think we have LBJ.
Yeah. Assists, he's up there
He's
now.
up there. Yeah, he's in the top
Rebounds,
5.
he's up there.
Yeah.
Like, as a whole body player,
Yeah.
like, we're not going to play around with LeBron.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna put him 2nd.
Yeah.
Not going to put him over Jordan.
But
though.
that's but like if he's
I'm not
second,
gonna put him over Jordan.
how far is that gap thing?
I'm not going to put him over Jordan.
Is Jordan that great? Because if you're saying you put him 2nd,
Hey, bro.
that means he's never going. Like I feel right now,
Nah, he won't get there.
He won't catch
He
it.
won't get there. Because Jordan is 6 or 6.
Yeah.
He won 3, left, came back and won another 3.
Yeah.
Right? That's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Versus
It's never
this
been
guy.
done before.
Right? So, yeah, like, you're not going to catch that, man.
No,
Like,
it's-
you're not gonna catch that.
Yeah,
man.
and he won 10 scoring titles. 10.
You know, like, there was no hardly a 3-point line. There
Yeah.
were 3-point shooters
And he
there.
won 10 scoring
You know,
titles.
so,
Yeah.
like, in terms of that shit, Jordan is easily number 1. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah.
Yes, LeBron might be a better overall player,
but just
right?
Yeah.
Because, yeah, like, overall, he's a better player.
He's a better player than Jordan. He's a better passer. He's a better rebounder.
Rebounder.
He's a better assist maker. He's not a better scorer.
No, he's not.
You know,
He's
the
not.
only reason he's scored as much is because
He's
he's
playing
playing
long
longer.
games. Yeah, definitely. So, like, Jordan, Man, he's gonna win a game for you. He'll say, "Give me the
Give
ball.
me the ball.
Win or lose, it doesn't matter.
Let me take
Boom."
the last shot. Yeah.
Exactly. Like LeBron will try to make the best play,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Which sometimes it's like,
Sometimes you gotta
like,
just take over the game.
yeah, you have to.
Yeah, I can understand why people put him second. Like one point, I was trying to make an argument why he's better than Jordan. I literally tried. I failed.
That doesn't make sense.
I failed.
I think maybe one thing he may have is he's won championships with 3 different teams.
Yeah.
That's 3 different coaching systems.
Yeah.
And things along
And
those
then
lines.
and also the only issue that I have with that is he had to leave teams.
No, facts.
He had to leave teams to win. Jordan didn't leave. He stayed and he made the Chicago Bulls a dynasty. They were a super team because of him.
Yeah, facts.
So, so he didn't have to. He had like one other All-Star that was drafted organically, and then he left them, and then went to Miami Heat. He underachieved with the Miami Heat. Let's not lie, he underachieved.
How many champions did they win there? 2, right?
He won 2 out of 4.
Yeah, that's
One
big.
he got gentleman swept, and then the other one he lost to the Mavs. It was like the only superstar there was Dirk. Like imagine.
Yeah.
So that was
That time they were making fun of Dirk because he was sick.
Yeah.
I remember. They were like 2-1 up or something like that.
and then Dirk just took over the game and they got beaten in 6 games. Can you imagine that?
Yeah, that's just
No, so he underachieved in the Miami Heat with all that he could have gotten done. Then he went back to the Cavs. Then he won that chip in 2016, which I think he literally stole that one. Like I believe he literally stole that one.
I still say, had Draymond Green not been
It
suspended
would have
for
been over in
game
5.
6,
It would have been over in 5 games.
I honestly still think it would have been over. But the Warriors should have closed that game.
The Warriors choked, bro.
They choked.
They choked.
And I have big love for Steph. Steph is my favorite player.
Is he your favorite player?
That is my favorite.
Yeah,
player. Easy. Like I follow that man since Davidson and all of that. So he's definitely my favorite player. But like they didn't close.
Yeah, he didn't get the deal done. Then they went and they got.
I mean, this was a 73-9 team
73-9.
with the unanimous MVP.
And then
First ever.
Ever.
And you,
You know, Jordan came out and said, "Was like, don't mean shit if you ain't got a ring on him."
he's not lying.
No one cares. No one cares when 73-9. No one cares. Did you win the chip?
Yeah, nobody cares.
Yeah, no one cares about that. But with the GOAT debate there in basketball, the people who grew up watching Bill Russell and Will Chamberlain and Jerry West and all those old guys, they all say, yeah, Jordan's great, but he's not as great as that. And us who grew up watching Jordan and were lucky to see LeBron will be like, yeah, Jordan's better than LeBron. These new kids will be like, because they're prisoners of the moment, they'll be like, maybe LeBron.
Yeah,
So like,
that's a fact.
yeah.
But my only issue with the older guys.
Yeah.
Like, who are they playing against?
They're
You
playing.
know, I mean, have you seen some of the stats with Will Chamberlain? 100 points.
100 points in a game,
You know,
55 rebounds in one, 55 rebounds in
Like,
one
nobody's
game.
catching anything else.
55 rebounds.
Like, it's also the level of competition because
Yeah.
I feel these days it's a lot harder than then because
Pace of the game.
the pace of the game.
Yeah.
There's also video now in terms of actually how does the guy actually move. This is what you need to do to
Yeah,
stop
yeah,
moving.
yeah.
Cool. Like I get back then it was a lot rougher. You know, like I won't like some of these NBA guys are sissy boys, man. That's just, these boys flop, man. Come on, guys. Like, you know, I get that, but also what was the caliber of
The competition.
Yeah,
That's
what I mean.
There were 8 teams in the NBA when Bill Russell won 11 championships. 8 teams. That was what, 32?
Exactly.
Yeah.
No one's gonna win 11 championships. No.
Never. No, it's
You know,
impossible.
yeah, that's
Unless you
not
won
good.
Jordan. No, he won 7.
Seven.
He won 7. Yeah. So so tell me about you do MMA, right? So what is it about that why do you do MMA and what is it that you're learning about it? Is it the discipline? Is it creativity? What about MMA is?
Yeah, so first I started gymming, you know, MMA stuff, because I got robbed.
You got
I was mad, bro. I was like, I could really like do something against this guy. Like, I really could, right? And I was like, but I can't. you know? So I'm like, let me learn to protect myself in some sort of a way, right?
Sorry, I'm done making fun. I'm done. I'm done. Carry on.
Like I was so mad, like, and the way we got wrong, right? Funny story. One about me and my boy, right? You'll know the story, right? So we were going to go buy booze, right? But it's late.
Yeah.
So it's at one of these shady looking places. Boom, I boom. We get our alcohol.
Yeah.
These dummies come up with a gun. I
Oh,
was like annoyed.
snap.
And so they took our wallets and
Imagine
phone.
life.
Yeah, like we didn't react to anything. I thought about it because he was a skinny little dummy. But
It's
then I was
okay,
like,
don't die.
but then I was like, it's fine.
Yeah.
But what pissed me off the most is because we bought 12 beers and a bottle.
And
They took one plastic
Yeah.
and left us with 6 beers, and they took the plastic with the 6 beers in the bottle. So we were like, I was just like so freaking annoyed, babe. Like, I was so annoyed, like, you know, but going back to MMA, like, that was the first instinct, like, man, I don't really like getting this vulnerable, you know what I mean? And I was just like thinking, you know when you start looking through Twitter and shit like that, and then you see, if this big guy goes up to your girlfriend, what are you gonna do? And I was like, what am I gonna do?
What are you after? I'm like, you just got smacked. That's what happened. We'll talk about how you got yourself in that position. So make sure you don't do it again.
Exactly. So
I'm a witness. I saw it.
So yeah, that's why I decided to start doing it, right?
Yeah.
But also fitness-wise, actually is ridiculous, you know, in terms of fitness.
You die, right?
And I died. Yes. My coach would be mad at me because I didn't do it for like a month or so.
It's lockdown. What you gonna do?
Yeah, but so like I've learned so much in terms of discipline, in terms of how to protect yourself, firstly. But just in terms of just like you learn so much about yourself, you know, like your work ethic, the amount of discipline you can actually put in. It's the amount of work you actually really put in, you know what I mean? And you actually see people really don't know how to fight out there.
They don't.
I even now, right?
Yeah.
As much as I've done whatever months I've done with MMA,
Yeah.
I am still so much of a beginner. And the nice thing is that like you just keep learning, and I want to keep learning. I want to get better from like the other guys. And then like I also now started watching so much UFC, right?
Yeah.
I follow a lot of these MMA guys now.
Yeah.
Like these South African guys are doing so well now. As
Yeah.
well, shouts out to what's his name, Don Match. He's in the UFC now.
Yeah.
He's really killing it right now. Also there's other
You
guy.
beat Khabib. No.
I don't know.
You don't know? Okay.
They have to. This is the thing, right? Also, I don't know if he beat Khabib. Like nobody's beaten Khabib. Like Khabib is like he's insane.
Fuck, Conor McGregor. What deal was it twice?
Nah, he beat Conor.
He beat
Nice,
him.
nice, smack Conor.
How about you fucked him up?
Nice, smack Conor all the way out. Right? But I mean, Conor was the first guy to win a round against Khabib.
Yeah.
You know,
First and the last. After all that smack talk,
you know, like, but like, you just learn so much from the MMA community in terms of
Yeah.
just like dedication, in terms of hard work. It's the industry is so small in South Africa. I won't lie. It's getting better. Like there are so many guys that I follow that I see, even my coach in his gym. You know, they're doing nice things. You know, hopefully it gets better. I would definitely recommend that each person learns some Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
I was about to ask which.
Especially women.
Yeah.
I primarily now am doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I used to do kickboxing. So yeah, now I'm primarily trying to do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Still only have a white belt, but that's fine. I'm still learning and stuff like that.
What are the rankings of this whites?
So there's white, then there's blue. Yeah.
Because I don't know the difference between green, red, yellow, white, pink.
Yeah, I'm not sure the rankings. I think it's white, blue, purple,
Yeah.
brown, and black. If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Guys, yeah. Don't quote me on that. Don't quote me on that. Don't quote me on that. I'm very new in the journey.
Yeah.
But yeah, just learning from this. I think the South African guys are actually doing well to build up themselves. They're doing so well, even with the one championship. I know there's the other guy, what's his name, BK, I think it is. No, he's doing so well right now. So in terms of MMA, like I did it firstly because it was a reaction to what happened to me firstly. But you learn so much as you go along. I would definitely recommend each person to do some Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Okay.
Especially women as well.
Yeah.
Like you learn technique on the size, right?
Okay.
And you learn like, because obviously like, especially in the country that we're in, there's so much rape and stuff that goes on, you know what I mean? So there's so many things I think you could learn to help you get you out of that situation when there's a bigger guy on top of you and stuff like that, like the things that you can learn. You know, so I definitely recommend. Like, yeah, that's definitely one I would definitely recommend.
You know. What was the fighting style that Bruce Lee had?
What was it called again?
Something like Taekwondo or something.
I think it's Taekwondo. Like he created that.
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken. But that also cultivates from the apparently. Don't quote me on this. Like from all the other stuff that he's learned over the years.
Oh, so you learned all the stuff.
Yeah, and put it together. Yeah.
Okay.
From my understanding.
Oh, okay. All right. Oh, that's fantastic. I like that. I got it from me once. Looking at Frank saying. So this is bodybuilder. And I want to go and learn boxing. And then another friend who said that rather learn kickboxing because boxing is a bit more stiff than kickboxing. Kickboxing, it flows a lot more. I don't know too much about this, but that's what was recommended to me some years back.
No, I get that. Like obviously boxing is a great sport and stuff like that, but if you're gonna look at it overall in terms of, let's say, a fight, I will back a guy who has MMA training over a guy who has boxing.
Yeah, 100%.
Because you're gonna come at me with fists. You do not know how to check a kick. Right? You don't know. You have no idea how to fight when a guy brings you down on the floor. You know what I mean? It's those nuances that I think are important as well, you know, for an overall fighter. This is why, for example, besides this one new lady that just came on now, we haven't really seen like a boxer going to the MMA space. We've seen MMA guys go to boxing
because they can adapt.
Because they can adapt. But if you look at it from the other spectrum, but there's this one lady, she won her first fight now. She was like a heavyweight champion. Oh, not heavyweight, sorry. One of these championships. And then like she won it in the first MMA fight. Good for her and stuff like that. But also in her training, she needed to incorporate ground game. You know what I mean? So in terms of an overall perspective, I will back an MMA fight on any day.
And I heard someone say like that. Someone I worked with who was doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and he said, and I was like, what if I learn boxing? It's like, yeah, if you get that punch in before I can move, then that's fine. But other than that, I get you on the floor, what are you gonna do? I'll put you in arm lock, what are you gonna do? I'll use your weight against you, what are you gonna do?
See, that's the thing. That's all, like you won't even be able to defend a takedown. And there's variations to a takedown as well, you know, that a person can actually do to you. Like I really learned that people don't know how to fight on the ground. Like they don't know what to do.
So especially a lot of people are tough guys out there. If you do this, I'm gonna knock you out. Okay.
Like I honestly don't believe in fights and like
you don't believe in fights.
I'm a lost resort.
Not to fight without fighting.
Nah, man, I'm just like lost resort. Like, you know what, let's just leave this. You know, like I don't like that. I don't like being confrontational and stuff like that. Unnecessarily, you know? Because even as much as, you know, I have some sort of training that I'm doing, hey man, a lot can still happen in a fight.
You know, stabbed and
exactly, you know what I mean? You get stabbed, you get shot and all of that. So like I genuinely don't like fighting because of that, you know. But
if I had to get in a fight,
you know what I mean?
You do not need to do something.
Exactly. You know, I'd rather be a warrior in our world than be a sheep in this world. You know what I mean? Like you have to protect yourself at all times. You know? So that's the way I see it.
The best way to protect yourself is have good politician friends. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. So you have a very interesting take on why Floyd is the greatest boxer of all time. A very interesting take. I still can't understand why. So I want you.
Floyd is the GOAT.
Man.
Floyd is the GOAT. Floyd is the GOAT.
No, explain to me why Floyd is. There's a lot of people who say Floyd is the GOAT. A lot of people say he's not. Again, this whole GOAT debate can be subjective and whatnot. now. So why is Floyd the GOAT? Except for that 49 and 0. I'm not counting Conor. I'm not counting.
Right.
Objectively speaking, I can't.
Okay,
In my heart count. He's still undefeated.
Okay.
He's still made $1 billion. Here's why I would say, if I had to argue for Floyd being the greatest, even though that's not my position, if I were to take that position, obviously he's got the undefeated record. He's beaten everybody in his path, even though some say they were not his prime. But at the end of the day, you put someone in front of him, he beats them. And he is the best defensive fighter out there. And also, what is the aim of boxing? Is to hit and not get hit. He mastered that. And take that outside of the ring, he made $1 billion. Like, he took the sport of boxing or detention away from heavyweights, and what's he's a welterweight, right?
Yeah,
He's a welterweight.
He
Let me just say he's a welterweight. He's a
We'll say
welterweight.
that.
He took that attention, and then became the biggest name in boxing. And his defensive skills, he's a good pure boxer in terms of just the technique. That's why I'll say he called himself the best ever. That's the only reason why. Do you have those same reasons?
Yeah, and he's never been knocked down. Let's just put it.
He's
Knocked
never
down.
been- Are you sure?
Yeah.
Never been knocked down?
Never been knocked down.
Not even once. I'm sure he has once.
Way.
I don't know, but like,
Okay, no official knockdowns. I know against that Judah, he's club weight, you know. And I think, but apparently the referee.
as an amateur, he lost the fight.
Yeah,
As an amateur,
yeah.
he lost the fight.
I know.
Yeah, but as a
But
professional,
he's never been knocked down.
that's how smart this guy is, bro. Like, he's smart.
That's why he's good.
That's why he's
That's
the
why he's
goat. The goat.
I mean, what is anybody else going to do against him?
Yeah, other people say he dodged me. Not me. He dodged Pacquiao.
Pacquiao dodged him.
Oh, he was like, did I get the story wrong?
Pacquiao dodged him,
Are you
right?
sure?
I
They were
think.
supposed to fight in 2010,
I think
but
there
it
was
never
a.
happened.
I think there was once a video I saw, right?
Yeah.
Freddie Roach saying, "Nah, the fight didn't happen and it was their fault."
Pacquiao.
Yeah,
That a bitch.
yeah.
Because
And then when the fight happened, he got beat.
I mean, like that was it
He
was
got beat.
Pacquiao didn't lose. It was rigged. It was rigged.
Nah, he-
Skip Bayless was saying. Skip Bayless was so, Skip argued. I'm like, because of Jason's speak, I'm like, for me that fight, can I be honest, was boring. I was bored during the entire fight because you know why? I want to see someone get knocked out. But that's not what
Yeah, I loved it.
I'm like, can someone get knocked out? Can someone get knocked out?
Like, I loved it.
And Floyd, what he does, he frustrates you. He frustrates his opponent. Oh,
I remember that fight he had against Canelo. You could see the frustration.
Canelo Alvarez didn't know. He had nothing. He had
You could
nothing.
see how frustrated he was.
You couldn't hit him. Like,
You couldn't.
you couldn't hit him. Floyd's a cocky motherfucker. We
Yeah,
all know
he
he
is.
is. We all know he is.
Yeah,
We all know he is. He's a cocky guy. But the thing is, I analyzed and we even wrote about him. This guy, he's the most disciplined fighter, I think, because he sticks to his principles. He sticks to his game plan. Hit and don't get hit. And then once the other person starts getting frustrated, what happens? Start making mistakes. When you start making mistakes, he gets his points, and then he chills, and he wins undefeated.
Makes 100 million after that.
Okay, first of all, over that fake fight. Come on, I'm Logan Paul. That's a fake fight. He's a genius. No, he's a genius. Floyd is a genius.
I actually didn't even watch that fight.
I didn't either.
I was
I was like, I'm not gonna watch this fight.
It just doesn't
I'm not
make
gonna watch
sense
this
to me.
fight. Yeah. For me, I understand why you say Floyd is good. For me, objectively speaking, he's not in my top 10. He's not in my top 10. No, he's not. Okay. Look at your face. I'm saying for me.
Yeah, I want to know why.
He's
He's better be good reasons.
He's a good reasons. He's cocky. That's why I'm like no. For me, he is in my top 10. I'm just saying that just to wind up. He's not number one for me. One, I'll say Sugar Ray Robinson.
Why?
Pound for pound, the greatest fighter ever.
Why?
Why? If you have not heard of Mike Tyson speak about Sugar Ray Robinson,
I have.
so you have. Okay, great. So what are we doing? So here's Sugar Ray Robinson. He wins his first 40 fights. Okay, then he loses one. Okay, whatever. I guess joke your mind.
Lost.
Yeah, of course. He lost 19 times. I'm going to say that.
There we go. Double digits even.
Wait, but for me, he won his first 40. Then after that, he went 85 and 0. And one time he was like 126 and 1. Jesus, he won 173 fights. He knocked out more people than Floyd ever beat. He knocked out more people than Floyd ever beat. So for me, pound for pound, and I read up about this a lot. When I started following boxing, I was like, Roy Jones Jr. People think that Roy Jones Jr. didn't exist. Okay, one of the best fighters. For me, I'll start off with Sugar Robinson. Second, there was this guy called Julio Cesar Chavez. He won 79 and he was 79 and 0 at one point. I'm like,
did you see his son get beat up? No.
He's someone who makes good.
I think it was a son. Was it Chavez Jr. or something like that? I think it's a son. I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. A lot of Chavez
he got beaten up by an MMA fighter, Anderson Silva.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, he lost.
You see, well, I don't know.
I'm just saying his son.
Yeah. Then there was another one, Harry Webb, who was also, his record was close to that of Sugar Robinson. Then I'll put in Muhammad Ali. And I'll get to Floyd. Then I'll put in Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali is because he transcended the sport of boxing at the end of the day. That's why he transcended the sport of boxing. Then fifth, damn. Jeez.
So you don't have Rocky Marciano out there?
No, I don't have my Rocky Marciano out there. No, I don't. I'll tell you why. Floyd is better than Rocky Marciano. I'll give to you every day. Why I don't have Rocky? Do you honestly think Rocky Marciano would beat Muhammad Ali? I don't think so. He went 49 and 0. Wonderful. This is where the undefeated record doesn't mean much to me. The level of competition that he faced wasn't as great as what Muhammad Ali faced. Think who Muhammad Ali beat.
Yeah.
He beat Joe Frazier twice. He beat
Foreman.
He beat Foreman properly. And that's when he Mayweather Foreman. He Mayweather Foreman, if I can say that. He lost 5 fights. Yes, he lost 5 fights. But he also knocked out so many people. And also the fact that he was a heavyweight moving faster than some welterweights out there. He called himself the greatest. And the thing is, we were robbed of Muhammad Ali's greatness. The thing is, like, when you reach his prime, that's when he got stripped of his boxing license for 3 years. Then he came back and he beat Foreman. So he beat when heavyweight boxing was at its best, he was the best out of them. That's why, for me, he's the best heavyweight. Second, I'll put Joe Louis. Rocky Marciano, come on, guys. He wasn't beating the toughest competition out there. You can make the case for Floyd is that he beat tough competition. Think about it. De La Hoya, he beat De La Hoya. De La Hoya was like boss. Let's not go against that. Obviously, we've got Pac-Man. Some people go and do this blasphemy, right? They say Pac-Man is greater than Floyd. Ask Max Kellerman. Ask Max Kellerman. Max Kellerman says that Pacquiao is better than Floyd. 8 division world champ. He was an explosive fighter, blue chip fighter, and people make the case for him that naturally Pacquiao was smaller than Floyd, naturally. And then they got to the same weights, and obviously we know what happened. Yeah. And also he lost, of course.
Got all that work. They gave him this work.
Did you see the stats after that fight? No, Mayweather beat him properly.
Pacquiao was crying about injuries afterwards.
Mayweather beat him handily. He landed more punches. He took less punches. And what else? I can't remember all the stats. But when I looked at the score sheet, I was like, damn, sorry.
Come on now. Come on now.
Mayweather definitely is great. I wouldn't have him as the greatest ever for my reasons. For me, I would go for the undefeated record. And then I looked at the competition that Marciano faced. I was like, come on. But then with the older guys, the level of activity that they had is you can't compare that. That's why I'm putting those guys ahead of Mayweather. But in modern fighters, there's only 2 people I really say these guys are great. When I say modern, I'm saying from the 90s up until now. That's modern. Roy Jones Jr. and Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather I give him the nod because he didn't lose dumb fights. He lose a dumb fight like Roy Jones Jr. did. He lost a dumb fight against a heavyweight. Like, you were a middleweight, you went up to heavyweight, you won the heavyweight championship, you just stopped. Yeah, but like prime for prime, Roy Jones Jr. was better than Floyd Mayweather, prime for prime, because at one time he was not untouchable. But in totality of the career,
no, listen, you know what? It's touch Floyd. He's not been knocked like this. Is
that why you call him the GOAT, eh?
This is the thing, right?
Yeah.
what are you gonna do to him as a boxer? What are you gonna do? If
I don't know.
if
You can't touch him.
like if you a power puncher,
Yeah.
okay, you can't punch something you can't touch,
Yeah.
right? Or if you can't get through his defense, your power is nullified,
Yeah.
right? Cool. If you have speed,
Yeah.
that's great and all,
Yeah.
but if your speed can't break through his defense,
Yeah.
what are you gonna do?
I don't know. I've never seen him lose.
I mean, this is the thing, right?
I've never
It's
seen
so
him lose.
crazy
Yeah.
that people speak about Floyd's career, about one punch that Sugar Shane Mosley put him, and that rocked him a bit.
Yeah.
And that was the only time we saw him like that in 21 years, guys.
Yeah, so the thing, here's what the criticism they have against Floyd. And I don't care about him personally as a human being. That's not what I'm arguing. And I hate when people do that. He's not a great person. We're not talking about him being a great person.
His personality.
We're talking about
Personality.
inside the ring.
Exactly.
The discipline, I bow down to that discipline. In the ring, technique. He's not a speedy guy. He's a great defensive fighter. His fights are boring. It's like Spain back in the day when they were just doing tiki taka. I know. They passed the ball to each other like 10 times before. But they won 3 major tournaments. Can you fight against those ones? People say all these allegations about he beat his wife. We don't even know if that's true. He's abusive, or he flaunts his money. He goes broke sometimes, or times he almost went really long time he broke it. But he made his money back. He dodged fighters. He picks his fighters. I'm like, guys, if I was a boxer, man, that's the type of career I want. I want that career. I want that career. That's the career I want. Whether you call me the greatest of all time or not, I'm not all the way to the bank.
This is the thing. People like to smack like, yo, he didn't fight. Listen, he's fought like what 18 world champions, if I'm not mistaken. I'd have to Google. Yeah, I'd have to Google it.
Okay, yeah, that's it.
He's fought that many world
And
champions.
he's beaten them all.
All of them.
All of them.
All of them.
Okay.
You know, like I think like you can't argue. Like,
Yeah.
like he's up there. Like
No,
I
definitely.
have to put him up there.
Yeah, no, he's up there.
And then like, we must also remember he had retired.
Came
And he
back.
came back. Then he went to prison.
You
And he came back.
You see, don't be a nigger, Floyd. we faced enough issues as black men out there. Now you're going to prison.
Prison.
What
Came
are you going
back.
to prison for?
No, I'm not sure actually, but I remember it was for like a year, I think, because that was before the Mike Diner fight.
Oh yeah.
So that was a good fight though as well. I think that was like the one. Yeah, but Mike Diner
Marcus
lost
Mike
steam. He lost steam
Yeah.
and then Floyd did
Yeah,
what Floyd did.
Yeah, the fight. You know, like I remember when the Conor McGregor fight was going to happen, né? And I'm like, why? That's why I don't even count it. Like for me, Floyd is 49-0. People can say 59. For me, it's 49-0 because Conor McGregor is not a boxer. He's not a boxer. If Conor McGregor was a boxer, I'd be like, sure, but he's not a boxer for me. But some people say 50, all right, fine, well, let's go. When I knew the fight was going to happen, I'm like, this is not even competitive. This is not even going to be a competitive fight. It's not. It's not. It's not. I looked at this, I'm like, who said this? I think it was Sylvester Stallone. They asked Sylvester, so what do you think is going to happen to Conor McGregor? Sylvester Stallone, he did all the Rocky movies, so he knows something about boxing. He's like, Floyd Mayweather might need to be incarcerated for third-degree murder. I looked at that and I was like, and then I watched that fight, and then Conor McGregor got killed. Now he got killed in that match.
Yeah,
Now he got killed.
Yeah, that happened.
That happened. That was entertainment for me. That was entertainment.
Nah, that happened. Yeah, he got that work.
He got murdered.
He got that work.
He got murdered. He got murdered.
Word.
Yeah, no, so like, so for me, like, I understand why people will call Floyd the best ever, because if I look totality of career, the money he's made, he's the best ever. In terms of just boxing and the record, because of the level of activity those guys went through, for me, I find it a bit difficult to.
But this is my thing though. As much as those guys were very active,
Yeah.
once again, how was the level of competition? Because
I
I mean, Tyson used to like. What didn't Tyson come out of prison and have a fight like 2 weeks off or something like that, and he smacked that Donny. Like,
It's not okay.
you know,
yeah.
this is the thing, right?
Yeah.
I get being active,
Yeah.
but it's who you're active against.
Yeah,
So you know what I mean. But also, what I hate about politics now is because there's so many promotions.
Yeah.
These guys really aren't fighting. Like at least fight 3 times a year, bro.
Yeah, 3 times a year.
Like
That's
2-3 times a year.
Yeah, the
you know?
fight once a year. Like I was really there's one fight I wanted to see, and that is Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. I wanted to see that happen. Why is it not happening?
I think now because Wilder had a rematch clause.
Wilder's going to get rocked again like he did the second fight. Yeah, he got killed in the second fight. Yo, Tyson Fury murdered him. I was so uncomfortable.
Mans was making excuses that he's super heavy.
No, Tyson, no, wasn't Wilder got killed, he got murdered. No, Tyson Fury murdered him, man. No, like he legit killed him. They smacked him all the way. That's why I wanted to see Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. I think Tyson Fury would have won because he's the better boxer than Anthony Joshua for me. He's more skilled, and it's like, again, if I think about it, it's like a Pacquiao Mayweather thing. Who's going to win there? Mayweather would be Tyson Fury, and Pacquiao would have been Anthony Joshua. But sometimes you never know. I think Tyson would have won because he's more of a skilled boxer. Yeah.
Yeah, Tyson. I don't know, man. I'm just a Anthony Joshua fan.
I'm an Anthony Joshua fan. I'm being objective here.
Yeah, on an objective case, I think. I don't know, man. I don't know because the thing is, both of their chins are suspect. You know what I mean?
Very.
Because what the first fight against Wilder, he dropped it.
Dropped him good.
He dropped it. You know.
Didn't drop him twice in that fight. Yeah.
I think it was twice. I'm not sure.
Yeah, but
he dropped it.
Yeah, one time he just rose like from the dead.
Exactly. You know what I mean? So, but also Joshua's been dropped before as well.
And he
lost the fight.
He lost.
And he smacked him all the way up.
Properly. He lost. Andrew Reese.
I think actually Tyson Fury will actually get.
I think
looking at it from a technical aspect, but I think Joshua is also trying to get better technically. Because I saw in his last fight with Riz, like he wasn't trying to go for that punch.
He was boxing. Now he was boxing.
But obviously Fury's been doing it for a lot longer now.
And level of competition, Tyson Fury is, I don't know if he's been in high level competition, but the last fights, he beat Klitschko handily. He shocked people when he beat Klitschko. I think he beat Wilder in the first fight, first of all. I don't know why it was a draw.
I would agree with you.
I don't know why it was a draw. So I made the argument he's beaten Wilder twice. Then he's going to beat him again. He's going to beat him again. When that fight happens, I told you so. He's going to beat him again. I
think he will actually.
Yeah, Wilder's going to get.
I will see what happens. I mean,
one lucky punch, eh? Right.
That right hand,
fire, right?
You know what I mean? He smacked a lot of guys.
41 to
Yeah. So yeah, but I still don't think Wilder. I don't know what he can do
as a boxer. He's a fighter, not a boxer.
I don't know what he can do.
Yeah.
You know, maybe I don't know what he can do.
Yeah.
In terms of that, but Fury. Fury. Joshua is a good fighter. I really want to see.
He's a very good fighter. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I would be rooting for Anthony Joshua, but I know that Fury is going to bring that fire. He's going to bring that fire. Yeah. So that's why again, level competition is very important. Muhammad Ali, like you can't argue the fact that he beat the best that was there. He beat Sonny Liston. He beat Floyd Patterson. He beat Joe Frazier. He beat you can't argue against the people that he beat. Fact of the matter is, he lost to someone with 7 fights. Like, come on. He lost to someone with 7 fights. Come on. Like, that's why I remember Floyd was like, "You think I'm going to compare myself to someone who beat someone with 7 fights? Absolutely fucking not." I was like, he's right. No, he's so right though. Like, 7 fights. Guys. Okay. I know. But then when I look at Sugar Ray and Harry Webb, when I look at the level of competition, they face the best of their day. You can only fight the best of your day. Rocco Marciano, come on. The people that he beat were like it's like the Boston Celtics. You understand in the 60s, the Boston Celtics beat people who on their spare time they had to be door-to-door salesmen. They had to have second jobs.
9 to 5.
They had a 9 to 5 in
Imagine manager coming at you.
You even lost.
You
You even lost the championship. And go sweep those floors. Alright, we came to the end. Is there any questions that you want to ask me on the show? You get a chance to be a host for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome to the
Welcome to the Lukho Nomala show. Yeah.
So in terms of your idea for your podcast,
Yeah.
why first did you start it?
Why did I start it?
Yeah, let's just get in there.
I wanted to learn from people, number one, because that's the best way to learn from people is to speak to them and get their point of view. For example, certain things about MMA I didn't know up until now. Certain perspectives from hip hop I didn't know until now. And then there's this culture where people don't want to think. I don't know if you know, people don't want to think and just learn from other people. That's why you have people who are narrow-minded assholes out there because they don't want to advise someone who's interesting that you can learn from. That's one. And then two, I've just always loved doing it. And then two, I've always said to myself, why not? Why not? I might as well. And then three, Joe Rogan made $100 million on the Spotify deal. I want that money. I wanted that money. And of something that was a hobby and a passion project. And so for me, when I saw that, it took away all the excuses. Because I thought about starting it at the end of 2019. I actually started at the beginning of 2020, then the pandemic hit. Then I had the time to do it. I said, let me just go straight into it and let me just get started, and just started picking up. So that's why I started it, primarily because something like this builds relationships and it builds influence. Every single guest that I've had was a friend, and then is a friend, and then the relationship got closer. And the more guests that you bring on, the more people you learn from, you build a connection, and then they say your network equals your net worth. So then it's not building an influence, and then they say, hey, speak to this person, then that person says, speak to this person, hey, speak to that person, and then one day end up on the Daily Show. That's why I started the podcast, and it's fun, and it's fun. This is like part of like university fees for me. That's why I started it. And then also I said to my people, quit too soon when they start something. I remember I used to not have my own studio. I used to book studio time and the guy said, the drop-off rate for people start their podcast, it's after 4 episodes. They just quit. After 4 episodes. So I said to myself, I looked at Joe, I looked at other people, Trevor, I looked at Oprah, and they were in it for the long game. The whole greatest of all time debate, can you be here for a long time? So I said to myself, let me do this for the next 10 years and let's see what happens. Because people overestimate what I'm going to do this year. Yeah, this year I'm going to make $10 million. But then over 10 years, I'm like, 10 years is too long. So for me, I'm like, if I do this for the rest of my life, what's going to happen? That's why I started. Primarily, it is I want to learn. And I want to be proven wrong. I don't want to just say, freaking Pacquiao is the greatest boxer of all time. And that's it. I don't want to hear other people's perspective because that makes you narrow-minded and you can't learn. And you can't grow. So yeah, that's why I started the show.
Alright, one more question. Obviously, you had season 1.
Yeah. One season 2.
Season 2, keep it moving.
Yes.
Don't be like Game of Thrones season 8.
I refuse. I don't want to do that to people.
So obviously, what did you learn in season 1?
Yeah.
And what you think you can implement and improve on in the next coming seasons? And obviously, after that, where do you really see the sort of platform going in the future, and like your overall vision, vision statement?
Vision statement.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan money. That's the vision statement for me. Okay, I'll start with the big vision statement. Vision statement for relationships is to have the best and most interesting minds on my speed dial. What that means, someone's on your speed dial, you speak to them constantly. So I want to have access to an Einstein or a Hart or a Noah or an Obama on my speed dial when I say like I've built a relationship with them because they know things that I will never ever know. So that's where I see this going. Like the best people on planet Earth, like I have a personal relationship with them. The whole 6 degrees of separation. Let's say you're 6 degrees from meeting anybody. I want that to be 1 degree of separation. That's where I see it. And if I'm speaking to billionaires, guess what happens to my net worth? It increases. I'm like, you want me on your show? Oh, I speak to billionaires, so I don't have to pay. So that's the overall vision. What I learned from season 1 is that this is really fun, number 1, and then also people really like the long form. and people also like snippets. So what I just need to start doing is take this, like for example, this entire interview, and then group it to say we talk about sports, we talk about relationships, and then also upload those episodes and link them to the main one and say for 10 minutes we talked about Mayweather, for 10 minutes we talked about, so that people, because you eat an elephant bit by bit. So some people see the glass and like, yo, that's Avengers Endgame. That's Titanic, that's The Godfather too, you know? And then if you look at it like 10 minutes, you can finish 10 minutes really quickly.
Yeah.
And then you'll be like, oh, what's next? What's next?
Yeah.
So that's what I learned from it. And then it's also a whole lot easier to reach people I thought was difficult to reach. You know, like celebrities. I don't want to call them celebrities because do we have celebrities in South Africa? I don't know. She's a media personality. Hey,
hello, darling.
I'm darling. I should get over the show, but I'll probably start World War III, but it's okay. We'll probably start World War III. But I think I should get over the show just to get a real perspective on things. The celebrities, the businessmen, and I also learned there are far more interesting people who you never would have heard about. They're quietly rich, they're quietly influential. Keyword there is quietly, so it's easy to reach out there. And then I learned from season 1 is that you need to put in the work before you can go and approach other people.
Okay.
Because they look at the reason I structured seasons in 20 episodes, because if I look at my favorite series out there, 20 episodes, some of them 10, but I was like, let me put out the volume out there in 20. What I can then go for other seasons is to reach out to keep the mix, because I don't want it to just be like celebrity season. I want to speak to celebrities, but also people like yourself who don't necessarily want to be celebrities, but interesting perspectives to share. And also I learned that you don't have to be Fortune 500 to share an interesting perspective, because some of the people that you learn the biggest lessons from are not on the Fortune 500. They're not Forbes 30 under 30. They're not Nobel Peace Prize winner. They're like a single mother. They are a real estate agent. They share a more real perspective. And also what I learned is that, you know, the entire thing of when I said some people criticize Kevin Hart's comedy for not being real enough because he's talking about Gucci bags instead of fighting with his wife. I want to keep that. I want to keep that relatability. I want to keep that relatable. And how are you relatable? When you speak to people who are relatable. And then also, Joe also kept the same thing, because when he made his $100 million deal, he's not a normal person anymore. How can you be? Yeah, how can you be? If I make $100 million, I'm not telling anybody. I'm not telling anybody. I don't want to tell anyone, because I don't want people to see you as something that you're not, people over glorifying you. So for the upcoming seasons, it's having overall theme and then just schedule the guests. What I also learned from the first season is some people just want to hear me just talk. just me, just a one-on-one, because you have to give people variety. People want the conversation. People want just to hear your perspective on something. That's why you will see me put out the Everyday series where I talk about motivational Mondays, transformational Tuesdays, and those are like 5 minutes, 7 minutes. The longest one is 20 minutes. That it gives them the bite size. But in terms of the people, is don't try and make money too quickly. Yeah, that's what I've learned for the seasons going forward, because sometimes you will think, I want this person for this episode, and then another person is available sooner, and the other person is trying their feet, and you need to get the content out there quickly. So just keep going out there. So always keep that mix. I'm not gonna just have Nasty C in the show and then all the best rappers, and then I'll speak to Lukho or anybody else. So that's what I've learned from the podcast, and it's fun, and I just really keep on doing it. It was very difficult in the beginning. I didn't know what I was doing. I don't know what I was doing. I was like,
you have to look in the mirror.
Okay. Nah, that ain't right. They're right though. And then I got a call from my mom, like, not right now, mom. I got a lot on my mind. But then I know you don't usually know what you're doing. And one thing I also learned is people don't necessarily want content that's too pristine and too polished and too edited, because people want to know, what are you really thinking? That was the joy of having Donald Trump as a president. you knew what he was really thinking.
Grab you by the pussy.
I'm not. Listen, I'm not necessarily a fan of his. What I'm a fan of, like how real he was.
Yeah, nah, like he said what he thought.
He said what he thought. I don't agree with what he was thinking,
Yeah.
but I agree with the fact that he said what he was thinking. And then some people are like, no, that's not what Donald Trump thinks. He's like, no, that's exactly what it is like.
Yeah.
So that's what I like about just being real and honest and not censoring it. If people have a problem with the swears, I'm like, have you never sworn ever in your entirety of your life ever?
I think that's why I enjoy like a series like House.
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy's a dickhead. Like, he says what he feels.
Yeah.
And he stands by it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so stand by what you say what you need, because like I also have started to realize the age of the untouchable celebrities is like dead. Like dead. Like a celebrity that's on an ivory tower, you can't get them. That's why all these YouTube personalities are doing so well, because they're saying what they feel, and they're very real. Like PewDiePie. Like, yeah, this is me. I'm PewDiePie. Like this is me. And I don't have corporate sponsorships and deals, and people want me to censor what I'm saying. I think who's the guy? Lupe. Remember Lupe Fiasco?
Yeah.
He had a fire album. His second album was censored, and it was never as real as after that. I looked at that. I'm like, nah. So like, yeah. So that's what I've learned. And then with this day and age, you need to do as many as possible, as quickly as possible. It's tough. It does take the time, and the way I see it, it's like you're more than comfortable having a 4-hour conversation with someone else, and then it not being captured. I'm like, let me have conversations anyway, capture that, have it put out there. And then 10 years from now, have Joe Rogan money. Have Joe Rogan money. And then what I remember one person said, I'm doing people a favor. How am I doing people a favor? I think people are doing me a favor. Like, no, because years from now, you'll be like, oh, you were on the podcast and you said something so interesting. Lukho, can you tell me more about MMA? Can you tell me more about your perspective on corporate life? And then it opens up a door for you that may not have been there. I was like, that's the power of something like this, because I don't have to go to 94.7. I don't need to go to 5M. I don't need to go to Hotshot Radio, wherever it is. I can just be here in Greenstone in South Africa and broadcast to the world. And yeah, and if people have a problem, I'll be like, get out of here. Exactly, that's the thing. And then people see the work and they're like, I like what you're doing. I can also do the same. And why people say, why don't you have your own office and corporate studio? I'm sending a message that all you need is a minimum investment between 5 and 10,000 rand just to get started, and then you can have your own setup like this, and then put the message out there. I don't have to go and buy studio time anymore. Like just own everything yourself, and be a bit the best and more legit start like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Last question.
That was it.
Yeah, that's it. All right. Okay. So, guys, that was myself and look there. It's your pal, Lukho Nomala. We had a very good and frank conversation. I told you it was going to be like almost 2 hours. Yeah, I told you. I told you. And I was saying we'll talk about the power of relationships and friendships, and also the power of sports to really change the world. Share a lot of good perspectives. He believes Floyd Mayweather is the GOAT. Rightfully so. I still say Sugar Robinson because of the level of activity that he had, and he was called the greatest fighter already. So there you go. And that's been him. Thank you very much for being on the show, and we should do another one of these. I should get like one where I have like 4 people. I'm like, you over there. I'm myself here and someone else, and then just really go in it. So I'm like, we should probably do like first take and skip basics. Like, don't do that, skip. No.
Walk off stage.
I'm like, get off stage. Get off stage. How dare you? You gotta get it done. No excuse. Stephen A. Smith. But anyway, that's myself and John James. And remember that success is a progressive realization of what that deal. That means you're doing what you always wanted to, because it's aligned with the highest values. And it's the only way you can live a truly fulfilled life. So go out there and change the world, because you're the only person who can. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
How dare you? Right, here we go.
Oh, that was good, man. I should do this again. Sheesh.
Okay, let's be safe. Let's take it off. Take it out. Take it out.
Boss is gonna see this. That's how you feel about corporate. I'm like, you're afraid of corporate. She's fucking 43. Can't be friends with her 43.